hard too.
Less than 24 hours after their mother was killed, Sabrina Willis's daughters held a grand opening of her salon, the Groomsmen of Atlanta Barbershop.
My mama put her blood, sweat, and tears into this business.
Sabrina has had the shop on Fairburn Road since 2009 and wanted to hold a grand opening after revamping it. Friends and loyal customers coming out to show their support for the business and her daughters.
She was a loving person. She showed up for other people, so they're going to show up for her.
On October 4th, 2025, the neighborhood on Littlebrook Way in Douglasville wasn't supposed to be special. It was a normal Saturday night, families watching TV, kids finishing homework, people settling in for the weekend. But around 9:28 p.m., everything changed. A woman was screaming, not arguing, not raising her voice. Screaming, the kind that makes your skin crawl because you know it's coming from fear. Neighbors later told investigators that they heard someone running through the yard. The sound of feet hitting the grass hard, fast, like she was trying to get away from something. Or someone. That woman was 56-year-old Sabrina Walker. Just minutes later, Douglasville police cars raced onto the street. Their blue lights flashed across the houses, making everything look cold and sharp. And when officers stepped out, they saw a sight that stopped them in their tracks. Sabrina was lying in the yard. She wasn't moving. And standing only a few feet away was her husband of less than a year, 51-year-old Volanta Walker, holding a gun. Police yelled at him to drop it. He didn't. They yelled again. Still nothing. Instead, he raised the gun toward them. And at that moment, an officer fired once. When the gunshot echoed across the neighborhood, the truth was already written. Sabrina was gone. And Volanta had just turned a terrible night into something even worse. But the part that hurts the most, the part that makes this case feel almost unreal, is what Sabrina had been preparing for that weekend. 2 days later would have been her 57th birthday. And not just that, it was supposed to be the grand opening of her barbershop, the business she had spent years dreaming about. Groomsmen of Atlanta wasn't just a shop to her, it was her future. Her pride, her proof that hard work pays off. She had already ordered decorations. She had the ribbon ready for the ceremony. Her daughters were excited. Her family had their outfits picked out. But instead of celebrating her grand opening, they were planning her funeral. Before we go deeper, if you're new here, this is Crime Scene Exposed. We break down real cases, real victims, and real criminal minds, from shocking murders to cold cases that still haunt investigators. If you care about justice and real true crime storytelling, hit the like button and subscribe. It helps more than you know. Before Sabrina became a name in the news, she was a mother, a businesswoman, and one of the most respected hairstylists in her community. For 16 years, she worked in the grooming industry, cutting hair, styling beards, preparing grooms for weddings, and building a profitable salon with her own hands. She wasn't the type of stylist you visited once. People kept coming back because Sabrina made them feel good about themselves. She remembered their stories. She cared. Her daughters, Anesha and Michaela, said she was the kind of mother who kept going no matter what life threw at her. She didn't crumble under pressure. She pushed through it. And every dream she had, she worked for. That's how Groomsmen of Atlanta was born. For years, she'd done mobile barbering all around Atlanta, weddings, photo shoots, private clients, but she wanted more. She wanted a shop with her name on the wall. A place she could run for years. A place she hoped her daughters would one day help her manage. She finally found a location she loved. She remodeled it. She decorated it. She bought equipment. She planned the grand opening for October 6th, her birthday. It was supposed to be the start of a new chapter. But even with all her excitement, her family noticed she wasn't completely herself. Sometimes she seemed tired. Sometimes she seemed distracted. Sometimes she sighed a lot more than usual. At the time, everyone assumed she was just overwhelmed from preparing her shop. But the stress wasn't only coming from work. Some of it was coming from her home, from her marriage. And to understand how everything fell apart so fast, you have to understand who she married. Sabrina and Volanta's marriage wasn't public or flashy. In fact, most people didn't even know they had gotten married until long after the ceremony. There were no big announcements, no social media posts, no wedding celebration photos. It was quiet, almost secretive. And for a woman as open and energetic as Sabrina, that alone was unusual. On the surface, they looked like a good fit. They were both in the barbering world. Sabrina owned a profitable salon. Volanta worked as a barber too, and had a podcast and a few side hustles. Seeing two people in the same profession reconnect and get married didn't raise any eyebrows. But what people didn't know, what many in Sabrina's circle didn't learn until after her death, is that Volanta had a violent past. A very violent past. Back in 2019, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison for aggravated assault, aggravated battery, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He served only 3 years and was released in January 2022. Before that, he had brutally attacked his first wife, Regina Walker, in a domestic violence incident that left her severely injured. That attack played a major role in the long sentence he originally received. Despite his history, by the time he came back into Sabrina's life, he was presenting himself as a man who had changed, someone rebuilding his career, focused on business, and trying to start over. And Sabrina, being the caring, hopeful person she was, believed in giving people another chance. Their relationship moved fast. They married quietly. And within 6 months, things were already falling apart. People started noticing subtle differences in Sabrina. Her smile looked strained. She wasn't laughing the same. She seemed tense, distracted, emotionally drained. It wasn't dramatic enough for anyone to intervene. It wasn't obvious enough to call the police. It was the kind of change you notice, but you don't know what it means. Behind closed doors, arguments were happening. Tension was building. And Sabrina, who had spent years fighting through challenges, was now dealing with a kind of pressure nobody could see. The truth is, the danger didn't suddenly appear on October 4th. It had been building quietly for months. And by the time anyone realized how bad it was, Sabrina was already running through her yard, desperate to escape. For the 48 hours before the shooting, signs something was wrong. 2 days before her death, Sabrina should have been happy. She was about to open her dream barbershop. Her daughters were helping her prepare. The shop was decorated. The equipment was ready. She had even planned a birthday ribbon-cutting ceremony. But the people close to her said she didn't look excited. She looked tired, emotionally drained, like something was weighing on her that she wasn't talking about. Domestic violence experts say this often happens before a major incident. Victims withdraw emotionally, even if they never report anything. Sabrina didn't tell anyone she was scared. She didn't file any reports. She didn't reach out for help. But her eyes, her posture, the heavy sighs, they were trying to speak for her. And those signs were leading up to something explosive.
You're a groomsman now from 10 Cuts. I'm jamming too. New edition. Is it is you love? You know I know better. Good trip today, Friday, you know, it's Tay Cuts. I'm with my boy Jay over there. So what we doing, we just chilling in the barbershop today.
Investigators still don't know what sparked the argument that night. But something inside that home triggered a fight that escalated faster than anyone could have imagined. At some point, Sabrina ran. She ran out of the house and into the yard, the same yard she had decorated with lights for her upcoming birthday. Neighbors heard her screaming for help. And behind her was Volanta, chasing her. When someone runs during an argument, it's not normal conflict. It's fear. And when the person chasing them has a history of violence, that fear becomes life-threatening. Somewhere in the yard, between the porch and the grass, shots were fired. Sabrina collapsed. Neighbors called 911. Police rushed to the scene. But by the time they arrived, she was gone. When officers stepped out of their cars, they saw Sabrina lying motionless in the yard. And they saw Volanta standing over her with a gun. They shouted commands. Drop the gun. Put it down. He refused. He raised the gun toward officers. One shot was fired. He was hit and taken to the hospital. Sabrina died before anyone could help her. 2 investigations opened immediately. Sabrina's homicide, the officer involved shooting, and her daughters were left standing in the yard where their mother lost her life.
It was supposed to be a day of celebration, opening the doors of the new and improved Groomsmen Atlanta. But instead of celebrating alongside their mother, Sabrina Walker's daughters opened the doors without her.
It feels like somebody is missing. It really feels like her presence needs to be here. Her bubbly, her running around talking to people, it doesn't feel right. It feels like she needs to be here.
The GBI says Sabrina was shot and killed by her husband, Volanta Walker, on on Saturday night. Douglasville police responded to a 911 call about a domestic incident on Little Brook Way just before 9:30. Investigators say the couple got into an argument when Volanta chased Sabrina outside and shot her. The GBI says when Volanta wouldn't comply with officers' commands to drop the gun and pointed at them, an officer shot him. Medics took him to a nearby hospital for treatment. One of Sabrina's daughters was home at the time.
I literally brought a knife to a gunfight. I couldn't do anything. He could have took me with her. So as much as I wanted to save my mama, I'm happy I'm still here with all my sisters.
Despite their heartbreak, Anesha and Michaela made a decision no one expected. They opened the barbershop on October 6th, Sabrina's birthday, just like she planned. Customers came. Family came. Even strangers came. They cut the ribbons Sabrina never got to touch. It wasn't a celebration. It was a tribute.
A Douglasville woman was shot and killed late last night, and police accuse her husband of pulling the trigger. Well, tonight her daughters are working on keeping her memory alive on what would have been the day that she opened a brand new hair salon. Atlanta News First Niamani Watson is live tonight at the Douglasville Police Department. And Niamani, I know you spoke with her daughters.
I did. As you mentioned, Sabrina Willis's daughters say their mother had planned a grand reopening of her hair salon for today. Now, despite what happened last night, they decided not to cancel the event. They say they want to keep her business running to honor their mother, rather.
This was something she was really looking forward to.
Less than 24 hours after their mother was killed, Sabrina Willis's daughters held a grand opening of her salon, the Groomsmen of Atlanta Barbershop.
My mama put her blood, sweat, and tears into this business.
Sabrina has had the shop on Fairburn Road since 2009 and wanted to hold a grand opening after revamping it. Friends and loyal customers coming out to show their support for the business and her daughters.
She was a loving person. She showed up for other people, so they're going to show up for her.
Sabrina's story is tragic, but it isn't uncommon. Domestic violence often escalates quietly, without reports, without bruises, without warning signs anyone else notices. In Georgia, cases like hers happen far too often. And the truth is, the most dangerous time for victims is when the relationship is unstable, just like Sabrina's was. Running during an argument is a sign of danger. Being chased is a sign of danger. A partner with a violent history, even if changed, is a warning sign. If you or someone you know feels unsafe, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. Sabrina Walker wasn't just a victim. She was a mother, a businesswoman, a dreamer, a fighter. She survived life's hardest moments, built herself up, and created something beautiful. She deserved to see her shop open. She deserved to celebrate her birthday. She deserved safety. But the person she trusted ended up being the one who took everything away. Her daughters carry her legacy now, and the barbershop she built stands as a reminder of the life she fought to create. It's confidential, it's free, and it saves lives. If Sabrina's story moved you or opened your eyes to something you didn't realize was happening around you, please like this video. It helps these stories reach more people. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Crime Scene Exposed for more real cases, real victims, and real stories that deserve to be heard. Thank you for watching, and thank you for caring about the stories that matter.